So I welcome everyone once again to this platform. This is IMSL, which stands for Initiative for Advancement in Mining, Earth Sciences and Environmental Protection. This group has been in existence for over 3-4 years now, and it's been an interesting experience with the IMSL. You know, this is a charitable and non-governmental organization, comprised of practicing geoscientists and mining engineers that are actually united by a shared vision. And we are dedicated to promoting knowledge and awareness of Nigerians' geology and mineral resources. So we usually engage students, educators, some investors, entrepreneurs, and general public through our practical and impactful initiatives. Usually we have a slogan as mining methods to reflect our commitments and highlights the critical role of mining and earth science in the national development. We also have our visions, the professionalism for fostering our awareness of Nigerian geology and mineral resources, bridging gap among stakeholders, and also adhering to global best practices in mining and earth sciences. This is actually what we intend doing. And our mission is to ensure that we inspire and engage youth at all levels that are actually interested in exploring the earth sciences and mining, especially in the area of our mineral exploration industry, through a kind of an organized learning activities and hands-on programs, innovative education, practical mining trainings, and mentorship. Because of this, we've been able to launch our mentorship classes, and we've been able to launch our website this year to be able to deliver this. And so far, we're actually trying to do some automations in terms of our training, so that we have a lot of people from here, near and far, connecting to this platform. For the benefit of most of us that are actually joining, we have some handles that you can actually join for you to get acquainted or be aware of what is actually going on daily basis in the mineral industry. In the platform, we'll have a lot of professionals who are actually involving themselves in training, in asking a lot of questions. We have our Telegram handles, we have WhatsApp group handles, we have Facebook and all that. All our videos are usually on YouTube and also on our platforms. So today we welcome you to another exciting episode of this. This is the second in this year. Today we'll be handling a topic that has to do with a very crucial topic that has to do with the data trust. Data trust as a bottleneck to mineral exploration in Nigeria. We also understand what it means when we're talking about data in exploration. Data in exploration is very, very important. Sorry, in the sense that if your data is questionable, it breaches a lot of gaps in terms of trust. Today we'll be looking at data trust, in mineral exploration. We understand that mineral exploration is fundamentally a data-driven enterprise. Every successful discovery, from grassroots to prospecting to mine development, is actually built on the quality, the accuracy, and the reliability of geological, geophysical, or geochemical data. So in today's highly competitive and capital-intensive mining industry, decisions worth millions actually depend on data. So, and if the data's integrity is not ascertained, it becomes very, very difficult to invest in such projects. So despite in Nigeria, despite our vast and largely untapped mineral potentials, the growth of the exploration sector have been significantly constrained by weak data system. Not only that, inconsistent reporting standards, poor data management practices, and limited access to these verified historical records is also a problem. I understand when we did some exploration in coal, I know how it was so difficult for us to obtain some historical data concerning the British exploration in Nigeria. You know, sometimes these data become very difficult to verify. As a result of this, investors and operators and regulators often face some uncertainties, high exploration risk, and this reduces the confidence in some of the projects that are actually viable. You know, so when we're talking about data trusts, this refers to the confidence that the stakeholders have in authenticity, completeness, and the kind of trusted, you know, transparency, and also traceability of this exploration information. So it determines whether, say, the geological model is right or is reliable, or your resource estimates are actually credible, and investment decisions are actually what something you can defend. You know, so where data trust is actually weak, you find out that exploration becomes very speculative rather than something that is scientific. And oftentimes, this actually leads to project failures and wasted capital and slow sector development in the long run. So I will say that this presentation today will definitely examine the data trust as a part of a critical bottleneck in the mineral exploration and find a solution to that as a group. So we advocate that this be looked into in general. So we'll also explore the sources of these data integrity challenges, their impacts on exploration outcomes, and also the implication for some of the investment and policies that are actually involved in projects such as this. So we are going to also propose a practical pathway forward for strengthening some of the data governance, something like standardization, digitalization, and professional accountability in order to build a transparent, credible, and global competitive exploration industry. That is the essence of this meeting today. So with this, I won't waste much time. We'll be calling on Abigail to read out the biography of our presenter today. Abigail, are you there? So with that, we'll be calling on Arthur to take the platform. Once Arthur comes in to take the platform, the next thing we'll do is we understand that we'll have segments. The presentation will last for 30 minutes, and we'll have 15 minutes contribution, question and answers, another 15 minutes to wrap it up. So Abigail, please kindly pull up the bio of our presenter today before we go forward. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Otto Wamadi is an experienced exploration geologist with over 13 years in Nigeria's solid mineral sector. He specializes in coal exploration and mining, mineral title management, and gold deposit mining along the Kebbi, Niger, and Kogi river systems, as well as the Niger coastal plain.
Okay, go on.
A graduate of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Otto has worked with exploration and mining companies, contributing to resource evaluation, regulatory compliance, and sustainable development in the sector. Welcome, sir.
Okay, Arthur, are you there? So you can pull up your actually, ladies and gentlemen, let's do welcome to the platform in the person of Arthur Wamadi, which is highly experienced exploration geologist in the country with over 13 years of experience in solid minerals. I know Arthur has a lot of things to offer us when it comes to coal exploration and mining. Even so, also when it comes to mineral title management and gold deposits within the sheet belt of Nigeria. Ato have a very good grasp to that. So with this, we'll make welcome Ato to the platform. Ato, please, can you put up your, are you there? Can you put on your presentation and hello? We can't hear you. You are muted. If you are talking, we cannot hear you. Please, you need to unmute yourself. Ato, can you unmute yourself, please? Hello? Ato, are you there? Okay. Abigail, please.
Yes, I'm reaching out to him.
Hello, Ato, can you hear us? Okay, I have part of his presentation here. Maybe I will just upload it right now. Let me look at. Okay.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Your presentation is already there.
Okay, please, you help me project it because I don't know. I'm having some little bit of.
I'm projecting it. That's what I'm saying. If you can hear us, you can go on. Your presentation is already projected. Can you see it?
Okay. I can see it now.
Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Sorry for the break. The network just disappeared. I don't know what happened. Anyway, we're here to discuss data trust, a critical bottleneck on domain exploration in Nigeria. But our focus will, I'll try to limit it to coal. Even though we'll be touching on maybe some other aspect to make reference to, but I will just try and limit this discussion to coal. So the presentation overview, you have introduction to data trust, the Nigerian solid mineral landscape, focus on coal, the role of data in exploration success. We have case studies, inaccuracies and discrepancies in Nigerian mineral coal resource map. We have the legal framework, Nigerian Mining Act 2007, Section 43. You have the core bottlenecks, non-adherence to data submission. Then you have a broader impact of data trust deficit, recommendations to build data trust, and conclusions. Next, please. Okay. First and foremost, I would like us. Anyway, we are not. If you have been in the has been an issue. So, but let's also discuss what do I mean? Like Dr. Gideon said earlier, the confidence in data. Provenance, that's traceable origin, and quality of the data and availability of the data also. Now, why is it an issue? Why is this data, why is it critical? So you have reliable resource estimations and AMREC standards depend on the quality of data. Now, investors' due diligence and funding also has a lot to do on the trust of data. That's trust, the availability of trusted data, which can make them make informed decisions in their investment. Then also we have a collaborative exploration. See, I brought this up because I think this is one area we find ourselves to be lacking. You see, when you go to other professional fields like the medical sector, you find out that when a new diagnosis has been done, or somebody gets a cure for something, there's how it spreads in their platform that somebody in America can actually make reference to, okay, you so cure can be found so place in Nigeria. It can be done. They have that reach. But when it comes to our mineral landscape, we find out that we are having kind of issues with that most of our data are primarily localized. Then we don't necessarily have a well and updated data bank where our data can be stored and somebody can make reference to it from any part of the world or any part of the country as of now. So this is why this discussion is coming up, and it sounds as critical. Now, what are the identified bottlenecks? You have confidentiality fears, and say you have non-submission and delayed archiving of outdated national data sets. You have silos that are empty and fragmentations happening. You have no single trusted source to truth. So you see that these are primarily the bottlenecks that is hindering our data, this data trust, and especially in the mineral sector. Please, next slide, please. Let's be fast so that I'm using my 30 minutes. Now, the elements of this trustworthy data, you have accuracy, like we've said from the definition. You have consistency, completeness, transparency, then verifiability. Okay, these are the primary elements that are required for data to be trustworthy, which if you look at it in our landscape now, we have limited of these elements. So let's move on quickly, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, our Nigerian solid mineral landscape, I'm going to focus on coal because most of my work have been done on coal, and that's why this became an issue, because it became a setback at some point that we have so many numbers flying, so many figures flying of our coal resource and our coal reserve. But in the real sense of it, is that what is on ground? Okay, so an element of energy and transition, energy for transition and diversification. You have the coal, you have your lithium and your gold, and etc. Now, for the coal specifics, of course, most of us are professionals in this field. We know our coal. Our coal is primarily within the Mamu Formation and Suka Formation, and also the Benue Trough, which is located in Enugu, Benue, Nasarawa, Gombe. And our coal primarily is subbituminous, okay, which is used for power and cement production. Now, our reserve estimations, this is where we have evidence of trust issues, is that we have a proven reserve of 639 million tons of coal and an inferred reserve which varies from 2.75 to 2.8 based on the cited reports I'm using, that's in KPMG 2054. But we find out that I'll further discuss this reserve estimates because these figures have been flying for quite some time now, irrespective of the fact now that we have massive exploitation in our coal. We still have that stagnant figure because there's no update on what is happening. There's no traceability of what has been exploited, how much has been exploited, so that these figures can now be updated. So now know actually what we have on ground. Now, historically, we have that 2.7 billion tons. That's from older reports. Okay, to 5 billion metric tons of coal as inferred potentials. Over 300,000 metric tons of coal was what was exploited, which appears to be low, but in the real sense of it, this is all based on verified data that can be gotten. But in the real sense of it, it's more than what was quoted. Now, the challenge is that we have declining output, we have under exploration, and reliance on legacy and outdated surveys. Not all areas in the coal-bearing formation can be accessible. Okay, we have limited accessibility because of how these areas are. So at some point in time, we'll now have to infer we have to carry out some extrapolations. Professor Wajide was the one who actually most of the guide we use in our exploration is based on his coal resource map of the Anambra Basin, which is what I've used. But up to now, that report was done in 1990, and over how many years? Even as at when coal started becoming a serious matter, that's probably say 18 years ago, when people started going back to coal, active coal exploration and coal mining, you found out that this report has not been updated. Nobody has even taken any chance to update this report, which you have been using as a guide in finding out the coal potentials within the regions that where coal are being mined currently. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, now this is the map we've been using for coal exploration. Okay, on the right hand side is actually the map. On the left hand side, you can see some black patches, which are areas that coal has been mined or probably is being mined. If you take the size of all these areas, if these polygons that are in black, if you take their area size, you find out that a lot of coal has been exploited within this same coal Anambra Basin, that's within the Kogi axis and the Enugu axis and the Benue axis. You find out that huge production of coal has taken place, but yet there has been no updated map to show these exploited areas. You find out that even the artisanals working in this area, their production are not documented. So at the end of the day, you find out that you even have a serious gap, because most of what they do now is they do underground mining. So at the surface, the area looks good, but underneath it, the coal is gone. So you see that these issues these are some of the issues that affect our data, because at some point in time, you keep referencing the old data, going there on ground, you might think it's there, but underneath is gone, and because there's no monitoring of production. There's no monitoring on how artisanals are working. There's no monitoring on how their co-production is being sold or how it's been documented. So at some point in time, we don't even know what level of coal reserve we're showing. It's actually a work in progress. It's something I started last year to see how I can map out all these areas where coal has been exploited. Okay, to see if we can actually have an updated one, because actually the map on its own is not as if it's 100% okay, but at least it guides us to what most of us that deal on coal now. This map has been a very useful tool to us. Okay, but it's old and it has not been updated. Okay, we'll still go back. We'll still discuss more about why this updating is lacking. Okay, so please let's move on. Let's move to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, now the role of data in exploration success. Okay, now of course we know that we have our key data sources, which are from the geological mapping, geophysical, geochemical, drilling, and all that. Okay, we find out that to an extent that this data, there's no way you are going into mineral exploration or into mining that you will not have carrying out any of all these, if not all of them, at least majority of them, the geological, geophysical, geochemical, drilling. You would have carried out all these all these activities for you to be able to have enough data, which will inform the next phase of whether you're going to mine, what's the viability of this, is the mining going to be feasible or not. Okay, these sources are actually important. Then the model requirements as at now, you see, I don't want to assume that Nigeria is lagging behind or we are late. Okay, but let's see that we have the opportunity to find ourselves in an era where we have tools. We have the AI tools. We have the computer tools. We have the internet, where we can carry out our activities with a very fast timing. But so we find out that, but we are still lagging behind because of most of all these data are not available for us to even work with. Due to no centralized trusted repository, who is supposed to be the repository of and every exploration data in Nigeria, at some point they find out that they don't even have much data. And the issue now is that we might be quick to want to blame them or want to blame the government. But if we go to the next slide, you find out that we all have contributed to ensure that this repository, this our historical data, and is not functioning. We don't have a centralized source. We don't have a centralized data bank. And everybody in this space has contributed one way or another in ensuring that this one did not work. So let's move on. We'll discuss more on this one. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Now, a case study of these inaccuracies and discrepancies in Nigerian code resource map, as observed, you have the national code maps often outdated. Now, based on 1980s and 1990s.
So we lost you there. I don't know. Can you hear me? Hello? Abigail, can you hear me? I'm not hearing him. I don't know if it's from my end.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So can you hear at all? Is it from my end? Oh?
No, it's not. I'm not getting into.
You said what?
Let me reach out to him now. I'm trying to call him.
Okay. So it's from his end.
Yes.
Oh, he's still connected.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. What happened? Network. Okay. We can hear you, please.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Sorry, that's my network. Okay. So technical courses, we have incomplete submission of exploration data to NGSA in accordance to the law, giving rise to incomprehensible national database. You find out that even those of us that most of us geologists that are in attached to companies, maybe probably after exploration, you are trying to renew your license and everything, and you need to write a progress report and all that. You see that most of us, we tend to put on lies. And it's not this in a way. I'm not trying to justify anything, but we all know what we do, okay, and we know why we do it. Because I don't want to trade blames here, but okay, let me just leave it at that. But these are some of the issues that makes our data not updated. You have lack of systemic modern drilling campaigns. You see, NGSA, though we can't say they are not trying; they are doing their best, but at some point find out that even the best they are doing is not enough. Because for us to have a trusted data bank, there's more that needs to be done. Yes, they've been doing more. They have their NMMA programs which have been going on. Okay, but in as much as that, they still have more to do, especially the fact since we have so much mineral to cover. Okay, so he said that we have the Ubeno Trough extensions which are still unexplored, underexplored. So these are the technical causes. Yeah, the discrepancies in estimates shows that the proven coal resource of reserve of 639 million tons has been consistent amidst recent massive exploitation for the past 18 years. Furthermore, the inferred resources is, while some reports will say 2.75 to 5 billion gap, the factors contributing to this is that most of the delineated coal fields are in
remote and inaccessible areas. Hence, approximation and extrapolations are done with, which brings the confidence to a low. Okay, someone and he's looking at these figures and he's trying to say, okay, how can I, let's see even how real is it, how the realisticness of these figures we are putting. I was with a Chinese man one time who wanted to come to, he wanted to explore for coal or mining for coal, and this is one of the issues. He said, you people don't have this. I cannot come and put my money now at the end of the day now and all this. So you see, it has been a challenge. It's a serious challenge. This our lack of can hold on and use it and move and use it and sell to investors. Okay, so anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Next slide, please. Now, I would love to focus more on this because everything that we need to succeed as far as Nigerian mining sector is concerned, it has been fully embedded in the Act. But the issue most times is non-compliance. And find out that we have regulatory bodies that are very weak in carrying out the activities. You see, in Section 43 of the Nigerian Mining Act, I just took some excerpts for us to discuss. See, he said, holders must keep accurate plans and records. Holders, that's when I mean holders, I mean holders of a title. Okay, record of mineral titles and all reserves. Supply copies to mining cadastral office. Provide to NGSA a complete set of all geoscientific data, whether your maps or your calls, your sample for archiving. Now, all these sections is to build this data bank, this NGSA repository, so that we can have informed data, which at some point, if you look at the confidentiality clause, say after 5 years, it's assumed that okay, after you've done your exploration and you have benefited from the work which you yourself did. After 5 years, it goes to the public. It comes to the public document. Okay, section 4 of that subsection 4 of that this says data sufficient for identification and geological horizons. These are the data that they require. It must be sufficient for identification, for location, and for geological horizon. Now, the confidentiality clause said it will be protected until the earliest of at least 5 years after you have submitted it. That is to be protected. They won't give it out. They won't release it. Okay. Now, or if the area is relinquished, or if the title is seized, these are the factors that will make them release it after 5 years of submitting. Or if the area is relinquished, the information in that area will be given to become a public document. Or if the title is seized or revoked, then whatever exploration that has been done now becomes a public document. Now, the purpose is to build and update our national geoscientific data bank, which will in turn inform policy modifications, exploration, and investment opportunities. This knowledge is, we are all aware of this. Majority of us in this space are aware of this. But I can bet you now that 90 to 95% of us actually adhere to this. That's not compliance to it. We adhere to it. We don't adhere to it. And even then, those who are supposed to regulate it, who are supposed to ensure that these activities are done, they don't enforce it. Okay, because on their own side, they know how can you somebody bring his millions to go and explore for an area. Okay, and after exploring, there's no benefit, there's no incentive he's getting from the government, and the same government is now telling him to bring those. You see, it's a little bit of back and forth from both sides. Each person have a role to play. But find out that if it's one-sided, that's why this loophole is coming up, and that's why nobody's going to release his data for you. Okay, so these are the issues that even the law provides that we should do this. But how do we adhere to it? Do we comply to it? So anyway, let's move on. Let's not waste much time. Let's move on. Next. Okay, yeah, the core bottleneck non-adherence to data submission. Now, reality versus intent. See, companies frequently fail to submit complete and accurate reports within stipulated timelines to NGSA repository. leaving it incomplete. Now, the result is this. Now, you have a persistent, outdated national map, models which begat low trust in resource estimation at regional levels. Okay, that's the effect. You have companies who, like I said, they've done all this. Majority of companies, like coal, for instance, now we have companies that have fully explored their coal type, their coal titles within the titles. They fully explored it. Okay, now ideally, one would have explored NGSA based on what the law says, but of course, even you as a geologist, if you try to do that, you may get sued for it. Even after you have left the company, that confidentiality clause still binds on you. The one you sign with the company, it still binds on you. You don't just go and start talking because you have done exploration for them and you never catch you, they will still sue you to court. So you see that these are speciality with national benefits because that's which shows when the document become public. We still have an empty data bank. You have states that don't have even any mineral silos. They don't even have any stockpile of minerals anywhere. For them to say, okay, this is the quantity of mineral we have. This is where we got it. There's no there's nothing to show. But anyway, I might be wrong. I have to be corrected anyway, but this is just what began this discussion. Okay. So you see that as one there's no synergy. There's no synergy between the private and even the government because of all these fears that is on ground. And this leads to the problem that we will keep facing even in this era. We will keep facing this problem. We have failed to do the needful based on even what the law says. Let's move on. Next slide, please. Now, data trust deficit. Okay, you have at transitions at one of the because that transition delays have national delays energy transition. Coal for base load.
Hello, sir, you're breaking.
Under
Is
you hear me?
Now, you have inflation.
I have reached out to him. Let's see if it will get better.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear
Are
you,
you
sir.
there?
Okay, now, okay.
Your
Okay.
network was
So,
terrible.
Nabush, I just want to go hide.
Okay, go on.
All these issues about data trust is still kind of brings opportunities for the young ones who are coming up. You have a data management careers, okay? You have exploration analytics, you have digital mapping, you have mineral economics, you have consultancy service. Okay, we are in a digital era now. Okay, most of what you can actually sit in your house and carry out some exploration analysis on your phone and your laptop, then probably go to site and do some of these confirmations on this thing. Like this map I showed you now, some of it was done at home, but also at some point you have to go to the field to observe if these things, this area talking about, if it has been if it as you are saying it. So you see that actually it presents opportunities for those who are interested, especially those who are coming up, for you to take advantage of, okay, to see how we can plug these holes and see how we can come together, synergize, and have an updated database where we can be trusted, that can be trusted for investment and further exploration. Move on, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, my recommendations are for the build is number one. I broke it down to governance and technical. You see, governance, of course, the section 43.
Defining love.
Okay, sorry, Jerry. So the no, can we move backward, please? I was still talking of this thing, our recommendation, please. So you see that, yeah, the NGSA, they have been working on this Nigerian mineral reporting and data support system. Though there's still more work to be done on it, but I think we can help build on it and increase more like our data bank in that. Listen, I don't know if you guys have checked it, but it's something that I give them kudos to. Is good, but they need to do more and build on it. Then technically, we need to adopt privacy preserving technology like data anonymization. And those of us who are into blockchain and mining, blockchain and technologies, these are one ways also we can do to secure anonymity. Okay, I can be if for instance I'm a geologist in a company and we carry out some data exploration. We can use that we can send in our work, which will be anonymous anyway, so that we don't get legal issues at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, we are trying to build something. Okay, the old way didn't work. Let us adopt new technology to see how we can ease the process and make it easy for everybody. Okay, you have modern surveys which NGSA are actually working on, but you need to improve on, especially the training programs and every other thing. Then also incentives. We have compliance rewards. If government also should also look at ways to provide incentive for those who comply to this, because at the end of the day, if we end up having this data bank, it will benefit even the government, especially if you look at America, they are good. This thing, they treat it as the way we treat our oil sector now. We have oil blocks, which they keep selling. Okay, if you look at if you can treat the Nigerian mineral space in that way, whereby you have updated resource data banks, and we know where which mineral is. If investors come in and say, okay, I want to buy so please, they know if it's by indicative level that those things are, they know what they are going into. Okay, if it's at the inferred level, it is. They know what they are going into. If it's a proven resource that the government is cutting for them, they know what they are going into. It will also help people to invest properly and also give the government some return on investment also at the end of the day. So let's move on so we can wrap up this. The next slide. Yes. So our recap and conclusion is that we have which is exemplified by our dated and inaccurate Nigerian code, stem primarily from adherence to the Mineral Act. Then is we have an urgent enforcement of compliance. Invest in NGSA data bank. Okay. Now our vision is that we have trusted and centralized real-time national geodata system that will accelerate discoveries, boost our reserve confidence, support sustainability development. Okay. So these are my this is my reference document. I think this brings an end to this. Thank you very much, Mr. Grida. I'm done.
Ato, well, thank you. We're very, very grateful for that wonderful presentation. Just that, there's a lot of breakups along the way. I think the network is a big problem where you are. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay. So I think that is the issue, but at least we're able to get, let me say, 50% of the entire thing. What you've just presented on talked about is this is a very strong issue in the sense that this contributes to the ongoing discourse on Nigeria's mineral sector, by highlighting the data integrity as a fundamental driver of successful exploration and sustainable investment. And it also draws attention to the practical challenges of poor data management and fragmented kind of records and inconsistency reporting practices that continued to have undermined many projects' credibility in the country. So I think based on what you've just said, by linking data trust to exploration efficiency, investors' confidence and regulatory effectiveness, that this work has actually provided a kind of a clear framework for understanding why many promising mineral prospects are actually failed to advance beyond the early stages. So I will thank you for offering us some practical recommendations on data standardization, digital archiving, which I believe is a professional way of keeping data. And this also requires some professional accountability and institutional reforms when it comes to this. And the onus falls, I think, on the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency and some of the regulatory bodies that has to do with solid minerals, also mining cadastral office. So thank you for the contribution to this, which also I think, like we said, we're going to be seeking the support of the policymakers. This is the work of everybody. The policymakers, the industry operators, the young professionals who is actually the ones gathering the data in the field, and build a transparent, we all need to build a transparent, reliable, and globally competitive mineral exploration environment in Nigeria where decisions are actually guided by verified data rather than speculations. So I think it's a nice one to have you today. Without further wasting much effort in that, I will also, we know that a lot of people here have got such similar experiences when it comes to data and how it actually affected them. We'll have some people to speak on this, make some little contributions. Just few individuals I've actually seen here. Christopher, I know you are here. I will actually want you to make a brief, there's a brief contribution, just a minute to this topic in terms of the issues of data trusts in Nigeria, and some other persons who think they have something to add up to this. We will also want you to make your contribution. You can actually raise your hand, then I can unmute you so you can make such contribution. Also, if you have questions, you can also do that. Yeah, maybe you're welcome to this Happy New Year. For the past 5 years, we are nowhere to be found. You are here today. We are grateful to God that you are here. So, okay, Anthony, Otu, Christopher, Yaya, and who else? Mitchell. So I will need a contribution, 1 minute contribution from 4 of you before actually, if it's before going to question. Okay, please, can you, okay, Otu is also raising hands. So the 4 people there, please raise your hand so that we can make this snappy and move to that. Okay. Otu Dan, Anthony Otu, okay, you can unmute yourself right now and make your contribution or ask your question possibly.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah.
I want to give a very big kudos to you, Dr. Gideon, and also to Dr. Christopher. What he has discussed today has to do with your office, and I also want to appreciate all your efforts. I mean, what have been coming out from your laboratory, you have been trying. But what I want to say is that rather than, or addition to it, the title of the presentation, which is Data Trust as it affects exploration, I think it should be Data Trust as it affects investment, as it affects decision making. Because after the exploration, the major theme where we are all heading to is the money aspect of it. And when that data trust is not there, then there is a big problem. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I got what he's saying. The investment actually all come up from exploration. So, but at the end of the day, the final thing is the decision we're going to make. Because most of the time, even when exploration is done, and somebody bringing the money wants to know that if this exploration is trustworthy, the data you are actually trying to sell, where did you get the data from? But I know what they're saying in terms of gold. We've been seeing since 1912, 1950s, over 50 years old data is still being used and being quoted, you know. And meanwhile, some of these resources are depleting. There is no way of updating them. There is no way of saying even what was actually done was correct. Let me give you an example. I was involved in one of the group that went for, we consulted for a particular company last 2 years when the coal, in Anambra Basin was actually set out for bidding. So I was employed to actually look at some of the data that was actually presented by the federal government. When I got into the data room, I clearly told them that what they are presenting for my client to buy this coal is not going to work. They told me how. I said nobody could prove all the questions I put on the table. Nobody could prove it. Nobody could bring in something that makes sense. At the end of the day, I advised my clients not to invest. Do you understand? I clearly said, I went to the field, I did some models, and we found out that the model does not tally what we saw in the field. All the points that they say that I tried to verify some of the drilled holes that were done by the British, which the federal government was trying to use to sell some of the coals in Ezimo, in the southeast, and all that, even the Enugu coal. So trying to verify that and what we have on the ground right now and what they are trying to sell do not match. So at the end of the day, what we said was, we agreed that they are going to drill recent holes for us to be able to invest in it. Because we cannot call out a client to invest about $500,000 in a data that is over 70 years old and nobody even know how it was actually gotten. We only saw them on paper. So we cannot use that to say that the modern decision should be taken. So with that, immediately, that investment did not come up, and that coal is still lying down there. So until the right thing is done, and some of the concessions that are held under the federal government portfolios are still there, and they want to sell this concession based on the old data, which is not verifiable. Do you understand? They are not verifiable. In short, some of the coordinates that were actually used by the British, we try to actually locate them, try to match them with the modern UTM, then try to see if what is there is actually real. So it still comes down to decision taking. It's not just for literature or kind of stuff. It's something that for it to add to the national development, it needs to push from the issue of data, having data to implementation, and somebody bringing in money to develop those resources. So if some of the data we keep singing every day are not verified through modern drilling techniques, it will be difficult for investors to bring in their money. So I think that actually where is coming from out also. Okay. Let's see. Are you back in the country? Because I'm not sure you're in this country. You can unmute yourself.
How about Doc? Good
You are not in
afternoon,
this
everyone.
country, actually. You can't be in this
Doc,
country.
I'm around though. I'm in
You are
Nigeria.
not around. If you can never be around. Abigail, see this is the state representative head. Till today, both of you are not giving us the result. Yahya is in the country, but you're telling me he's not in the country. But you say he's in the country. Yahya, traveled. Oh, yeah.
Good day, all. Yes, thank you very much for
Okay.
this opportunity. Yes, and Happy New Year, everyone. Yes, they say information is knowledge, and knowledge is power. That is what data is. And you see, in Nigeria, I will come from the policy side of it. Thank you very much, Moto, for this very nice presentation. And I love the fact that you made comparison with the oil and gas industry. We keep saying it. Oil and gas concessions, they already carried out estimation, reserve estimation to ensure that, okay, this is what we're selling. And that's why people will rush to buy our oil wells, because they know they have but solid minerals. It's very funny when people reach across to you that do you have an asset? What is the exploration that they have done on it? I say in Nigeria, we have hardly passed that exploration stage to know what we even have. Because there was a day I was having a discussion with one of our professors, and we were actually on the field. The man actually told me that we need to remap the whole of Nigeria. Because yes, it's true. No, even if you look at it right from school, when we were in school, Dr. Jude, I hope you are.
Dr. Jude is there. Yeah. I'm not sure he's talking. Dr. Jude.
The foundation is. So thank you for this. So now you mentioned NGSA, who is meant to be the repository. The buck stops at the government table. If government can fund an NPC, what solid minerals money they use to fund an NPC. Now let an NPC to reciprocate and fund solid minerals. They gave solid minerals 9 billion naira capex Which year was that? 2020. Okay, you know how our budget is being run anyway. Before people started, everybody started shouting that, come, how can you put 9 billion naira
9 billion naira. How
solid?
many things will 9 billion naira?
How many things you want to 9 million naira?
See, even the so-called 1 trillion
Individual,
that
they
they said
invest that money in drilling. How much more federal government?
Thank you. So it's actually a very it's the bane of our development. Then furthermore, the issue of this mineral reporting standard code. We don't, even the so-called park that we said is a Pan-African thing, how do we institutionalize it? At least there is some like in South Africa that maybe we could have.
Still there.
Who is out?
Yeah, I think possibly his network there. Okay, while waiting for him, please you can raise your hand for questions. Okay. If you have other questions, please you can just raise your hand, and other contributions, you can raise your hand. I've called some couple of names. I don't know if you are there. If you want to talk, you can raise your hands, and so that we can bring you on board, and so you can actually make a contribution. Jude, you are there also. You can make your contribution. So please just raise your hand so that I can bring you on board. I think we lost higher there because of network issues. Yeah, I think it was trying to tell us about the need for some other sectors to actually respond, NNPC especially, you know, to up the games in terms of funding the solid mineral industry through NGSA. Okay, Jude, you can make your contribution. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you, our presenter, Mr. Author. Your presentation was okay. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. Your presentation was spot on, very well researched. Just that we had this little challenge of not following through because of network challenges, which seem to be a challenge almost everywhere. Sometimes network will just disappear for unknown reasons. Again, this book lies on the table of the people that are meant to enforce some of these legislations, some of these laws. We have all do we take care of this issue? We have talked about it severally, and nobody seemed to be lifting a finger. I am at a loss as to what we are supposed to do. And just like Yaya was saying a few minutes ago, we probably need to remap everywhere because we do not have records. Even in my school, we made an attempt to, what we are doing right now is to compile all the field work that we have done for the past 15, 16 years in the school to produce an updated, high detail or very, very high detailed geologic map of the places that we have been working on in order to submit this to NGSA to still support and aid mineral exploration efforts in Nigeria. And that will be our small part and a small contribution. But so archival data recorded is a big challenge. Even in these institutions, even I am a culprit and a victim at the same time. So we are supposed to think of how do we start implementing these things? How do we start enforcing them? So that we can move the needle a little bit, even if not where we are going to get to. Let us make improvement every time. Thank you very much. That's my contribution.
Thank you, Dr. Jude, for that wonderful contribution. Okay, we still, who else has, do we have hands up or any question? Abigail, please check out the message, the platform, and see, do we have any question on that?
Yes, we have a question
Okay.
by
So
Nana.
what's the question?
Yakubu Nana. Having reached an understanding of the importance of breaching bottleneck in mineral exploration, decision-making, investment, and data availability, is the cadastral system digitally connected to confirm data submission before renewal is granted?
Okay, it's asking, is the cadastral system digitally connected to confirm data submission before renewal is granted? Data, the question is not a bit, it's a digitally connected to confirm data submission. What kind of data
What
submission?
data particular?
Ato, are you there? Because as far as I'm
You see,
concerned, I know MCO is not connected to any, it's not connected to outside source to confirm any data you are submitting. And before you can connect to any data to verify any data, is there a kind of exploration data you are talking about? They are only interested in the coordinate you are submitting. They don't know what is where you are submitting. They don't have us. So they don't go into those kind of technicalities of data. They only try to confirm the location where you're applying, whether the place is free or not. Once it's free, you are granted. If it's not free, you're not granted. They don't go further to tell you the geology or, whatever and all that, advice or whatever, or when you submit for them to check your data. So I don't think they're into that.
I don't think they're into that. But exactly. No, but sir, another thing again we should look at is, you see, but what I'm saying is to, because I've done it, and I know most of us have done it also. You see, normally we submit a report. There are reports we submit to
the network is very bad. You're cracking.
Which called progress report of your activities. Okay, and that progress problem is that when we end up submitting this data, there is a way the data looks good enough. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
I said the problem is, even if this data, even if we are genuine enough and we are honest enough in our data, in our reporting to mining, you find out there is this fear now that at the end of the day, somebody might in that character might have a somebody who is bigger. So at some point in time, we'll have to start lying. Okay, and start. If you look at the Nigerian at the what they call EMC Plus, you see that people are applying for coal licenses on Basange formation because somebody have reported. So is that bad? Is that bad? So I don't know the data this person is talking about. But normally, if you are going to do your renewal, their reports is submit. But cadastre don't go to verify the authenticity of what you are submitting. That's not their. I don't think that's their job. I'm done. I don't know if you can hear.
That's not their job. I actually.
So I don't know. Mr. Chris was Christopher was raising up his hand.
Okay, Christopher, you can. Okay, Christopher.
Good afternoon, Gideon, and thank you, the presenter. Sorry, my network is a little bit down. This topic is very, very important, because it's one of the serious bottlenecks we have when it comes to Nigeria exploration company, because you cannot actually bank on a data that you don't trust. I've seen situations where some geologists, carry out an exploration, and then at the end of the day, another geologist comes on board, and then he will now, say, oh, you cannot trust all the data of whatever sociologist did or the other exploration company did, that they can now trust it, and they have to now advise the investor to start the exploration all over again. And then maybe it gets exploration to a certain stage, then another geology come again, and then almost the same thing keeps on repeating to an extent that the investor keeps on spending money, and at the end of the day, it does not have confidence on whether the first person did the right thing, the second person did the right thing. So the money, the expenditure, the expenses we incur in data trust is very, very robustful. And then when we're talking about data trust, we are not only talking about the geology itself. It ranges from both from the geology down to the lab. So even if you end up doing a proper geological investigation, it still boils down again to the lab. The results you are getting from the lab, can you trust it? Because in Nigeria, take for instance, there are some labs that are only good for high-grade materials. Now, if you take high-grade materials for them, they will give you a very good result. But if you take exploration samples to them, they might end up spiking up the exploration for lead. The lead supposed to be, let's say, maybe 10 ppm. But because the lab was not calibrated for lower concentrations, they end up giving you values like 1%, 2%. End up making decision based on those lab results. So the data trust ranges from both the field down to the lab. Even in the mining, even you as a geologist, once you are done with your exploration, you get your assay result out, then how like the mining engineer himself, how good is he for him to even trust your data, because he cannot work on the data all the sector. So it's a very important topic that we need to address, put structure in place, put system in place for us.
Dr. Gideon, can't hear you.
You're muted, sir.
Okay, Christopher, are you there? Okay. Okay, I would have been talking that. Okay, that's fine. I think Christopher's contribution is very valid. Data trust also ranges from exploration down to the lab, which is one of the most critical issues to discuss. That another day, we'll have a lot of issues with the lab result discrepancies. When you have that kind of issue, it becomes something that installs decision making. And another thing I take away from what he just submitted is the issue of calibration of labs. Some labs actually calibrated to carry out certain explorations when it comes to ore samples, and some also are well equipped with when it comes to exploration samples. Exploration samples are actually samples most of the times you have to measure in parts per billion even, and in ppm parts per million, while some other labs are much interested in the ores, which actually give you higher percentages when it comes to sample analysis. So if certain labs give you wrong information or results, it also contributes to the issue we're discussing here. So Christopher is in the Obserconnects, I think they are well experienced in terms of testing exploration results, exploration samples. So thank you for that submission. And do we have any other contribution? I think, okay, we've heard from Anthony, we heard from Christopher, we've heard from AQ. Who else did we call that we've not heard from? Is your hand up so that we can wrap it up? And if there are other questions, please, you can submit it. I think there's Abigail, please, can you read some questions and some other contributions on the platform, please? Go ahead, please.
Okay, by Yakubu Nana again. Can strengthening the cadastral system, integrating NGSA geoscientific data, and embedding ESG principles collectively serve as remediations to reduce bottlenecks in mineral exploration?
You say, can strengthening the cadastral system, integrating NGSA's
Yes.
data, embedding ESG principles collectively serve remediation to reduce? Yeah, these are actually in an organized system. This is actually what is supposed to be done. In an organized system, MCO, NGSA should have a kind of a platform to share data and understand how some of these data are going to be used. So even in their own, I think in MCO system, there are some just a relief data, surface relief data that is actually embedded in their platform, which I don't know if it contributes so much to what we are looking for, but it is also a way of actually making these things work out. So if data sharing definitely need to be, there should be a system that can integrate both agencies for them to know what is happening here, what is happening there. I think that is also a good contribution. Thank you for that. Okay, do we have any other contribution or question?
Yes, we have another one by
Okay.
Mr. Otto. What about collaborative exploration?
What?
What about collaborative exploration? Can you
Collaborative,
expand on that?
collaborative exploration
Yes.
as regards to
Christopher said something. He said, hello,
okay.
He said, can you hear me, Doc?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, Christopher cited he cited something. He said that you find out that the geologist carried out an exploration, okay, and that geologist is brought into the matter and is now condemning what the first geologist did, and he starts his own. And when he's out, and now one comes in, can't we just stop all this and just do something like a collaborative exploration? Can't we just stop all this? Because it's actually what is
yeah, that's good. That is okay.
Can't we do something like a collaborative exploration whereby
what
information I'm doing, I should my data I'm sending out should be trusted enough that even another geologist should come in.
Okay. Okay. Yes, Ato, I understand what he's saying now. In terms of collaborative exploration, that's very, very quiet. It's very okay to do that. And the issue is that most of our geologists and our professionals tend to do some of these things alone. There are things to be jack of all trades. And at the end of the day, they mess up the entire project. I've been involved in so many projects that are messed up by some technical persons, And when you go in after they've done all those things, you don't have any option than to say that you don't, possibly there are some areas you don't quite agree with the methodologies. Sometimes I don't waste time to tell the clients that I don't quite agree with this process based on my personal opinion. That doesn't mean that what the other person did is wrong or not, but sometimes some reports are also misleading. When you read some reports, you need to point out that it's misleading. How can somebody go to the field and advise the client to start mining, bring in excavators, bring in dozers and everything with what? With just mere observation and mineralization on the surface without any substantial exploration work. Do you understand? So when you ask them what they've done, some of them will just tell you that they came with GPS. They'll tell you they come with so device and they scan around. They tell you there's mineral here, there's mineral here, there's mineral here. Do you understand? There's no any underground kind of subsurface investigation. There is no geochemistry, which is one of the ultimates. The numbers are not even adding up. You start mining coal. You start opening up to go and mine coal when you've not even gotten 0.1 gram per ton. You understand? I saw somebody opening a ground and all that. You check it, you find out that what is actually trying to mine is 0.1. How can you go to 40 meters because of 0.1 gram per ton? You are going to blast, remove everything, and you make money with 0.1 gram per ton. So in that case, I don't need to waste time to tell them I don't quite agree. I think there are some issues I'm having with this process. You understand? So I've seen where plants are actually built without any feedstock based on interpretation of a geologist. Ideologists interpreted core, and when we looked at it, I don't know how they arrived at such a number of tons that made them to build that plant. You get it? But all the whole questions we asked at the end of the day, we could not arrive at that particular number that we actually put in, and it was based on that numbers that those plants were actually installed. As we were talking, as of then, the plant cost over close to 1 billion naira. You understand? So there are a lot of financial involvement when some of these things are done wrong. Yesterday, I was in a mine, and there was something we were discussing about wind direction. Just when we are actually designing the mine, we took so much time to understand a permanent, or what we call a dominant wind direction, which will actually help us to understand where the facilities are going to be with respect to where the pits and the mine activities are actually carried on. But do you understand that when I was in the mine yesterday, there was very strong wind that was actually coming up. So when it came, everyone was like, I referred them back to when we were trying to design the mine. I told them, have they seen the essence of the wind direction? Imagine if putting this facility against the wind direction. Do you understand? Do you know what it's going to do? When the mine is actually in operation, when the pits are actually excavating, everything, do you think anything can happen within this location? No human being can stay here. It will mess up the admin block, mess up the facility area, and so many things. And in that kind of thing, it's a costly mistake, because by that time, you must have actually put in all the facility, wasted money to put them there. You know what it's going to take you to move them to another direction. So, every decision you are going to take, it's not in mining, it costs you a lot. So a lot of things are involved. So that's why you need to collaborate. This is not a one-man business. It's not a kind of one-man show. You can't play, you kick, you do the referee and everything, which is most of the things. Some people are the geologists, they are the geophysicists, they are the surveyors, they are the analysts, they are everything. And at the end of the day, you see a lot of mistakes coming up in your data. So I think there is need for us to actually collaborate in terms of exploration and data sharing if we must make progress. Thank you. I think, Abigail, do you have any other question or any other contribution coming up?
No, sir, no.
Okay, are we done with that? Okay, and you've actually pasted out. So for the interest of those that are actually coming up for the first time, please, you can make use of the platform. You can actually ask your questions on the platform. And also, because of there are some who've actually opened up our WhatsApp platform. We want to see if there are possibilities of the first platform is filled up. So what we want to do is that we're going to open another. The people are complaining that Telegram, they are not too used to it, and so it makes communication quite slow and all that. So, but all those platforms, everything will be available. So whatever that is convenient for you, wherever you want to go, get in, ask questions and make contributions, you can always do that. So the WhatsApp platform is actually opened. The second one will actually be opened. The other one was actually over 1,300. We got there, so we decided to actually stop it and started enrolling people in the Telegram. But right now, we're going to make everything open. So if we require more of a WhatsApp, we can also do a stream B into the second group of the platform. And I think with this, we will have to call it today, and we're very grateful for you joining us. We'll be bringing this to you again next month, last Wednesday of every month. That is actually what we have when we have these discussions like this. So we'll announce in due time the resource personnel who's going to talk on that. And I'm always here to host this show and some other professionals that are actually here. We thank you today for coming up. For some of you that we know how difficult it is. Like I tell people, it's all about what you want to, what you want to value. We left everything also to be here. I left field to be here to actually anchor this. We thank you for coming on board, Yahaya. Please, you have a lot of things with Abigail for us to move forward on this platform. especially from the state representatives. I think in the western part, we need to actually do more on the western part of the country to have some reps there. Opereze, Jacob, thank you for being around. Miriam, okay, so please, I think we can put up our videos to just take a snapshot before we go. Can put up your videos. So Abigail will take a screenshot so that we'll post that. Jerry, are you back to country? We've not seen your brake lights these days. Some of you that are actually benefited from this. Mitchell, I thought you're supposed to make a contribution. Now you have seen your face. Please, can you go on and make your contribution before we close? Then Yakubu, Nana. Okay, thanks for that contribution you make there. Miriam, okay, that's not the Miriam I thought of, but this is another Miriam I'm seeing here. I thought it's a loud Miriam. I've not seen that face before. Miriam, you're welcome. And Esther, congratulations on your new admission. You're welcome. Who again have I not seen here? Ismail, that's interesting. Now you be this. You said make you join us today. What happened? Maybe Christopher bottled you out or something. And Gideon, that's my namesake. Gideon Igwe, you're welcome. I don't know that name, but you're welcome. Michael, I've seen that name before. And who else am I seeing here? Okay, who else here? Let me see. Okay, Abubakar, Mohammed, Abiodun. There are a lot of new names here. I'm seeing for the first time. Tayo, you didn't talk today. What happened? I hope all is well.
No, Wala. It's a learning session. It's a learning class today.
Okay, that's great. That's great. I love that. Thank you for joining us. And like I said, yes, we'll be doing something. Try as much as possible to make your contribution, no matter how little it takes. Make your contribution. Whatever you say, actually is actually noted. All these things are actually in this space. The issue that we might think that we're not making some impact, but one day, all of us, one of us will actually sit on that seat. You can implement it if the people that are there are not implementing it right now. For me, somebody was asking me yesterday, if you are called to be the Minister of Solid Minerals, will you be? I said, as of today, I will not be. Maybe tomorrow I might change my mind, but if you call me right now, I will not. He said, why? I said, because I think I'm busier than the Minister of Solid Minerals right now. So what is there? So what we need to do is that we can be outside and be contributing what we can. Whatever we can do, we need to do it from outside. Because most of the time, it seems that the way the system makes you to keep quiet from saying the right thing. And that was the reason I left the government before, so that I can say it from outside, because I know nobody pays my salary. If I go in there and the master pays my salary, it might make me not to say the right thing. So I think all of us, whatever we need to say, we say it right now. So that whenever you are made the minister, we can hold you accountable that you said those things and right now you are not doing them for the ministry. You understand? Christopher. When they
power
make
to the people.
Power to the people.
I will chop my own share now. I will collect my share.
Okay, that's good. Okay, fine. So I thank every one of us. So let's call it today on today's edition on to mix next month. So thank you and have a wonderful day ahead of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.